And hello and good day. I'm David Bowles, and this is Bowles.tv, B-O-L-E-S dot television, B-O-L-E-S.tv. And we are here with you live now at noon, high noon Eastern, as our schedule changes and our anticipation grows in many new, interesting directions. So I hope you had a wonderful weekend. It was sort of rainy and cold and cloudy here, and it has been like that for now 3 days, including today. It's 50 degrees and just a little bit chilly on the East Coast. But we're going to make it. We're going to make it through, and we're going to have a wonderful day. Another good thing that happened over the weekend, Nebraska, the Huskers won against Indiana. And it was a good game for the Huskers. They've had 5 years of misery, and they had a pretty good game where they all came together, looked a little different, had some energy. They were not finished by the fourth quarter. They were only beginning to fight in quarter number 4, and it made a big difference in their performance, in their prestige, and in their self-esteem and self-assurance. It was a good win. Now, the head coach was just fired, so everybody's in panic mode, trying to come together to form a perfect union. And they had 2 weeks to prepare for the game. So we will now see, as we go week to week, how this all plays out. And we hope it plays out well. But who knows? The Huskers play again on Friday evening against Rutgers. So it's a short week. I don't know if they're traveling or not. I can't remember. But it's going to be another challenge, because Rutgers has been up, it's been down, and the Huskers have been very down, but they're trying to claw their way back. Not into relevancy, but pure deliciousness. So another thing that happened over the weekend is we received our delivery of vitamins. Now, some vitamins are good, some vitamins are bad. And we were sent some new vitamins for review, and some people say don't take a multivitamin. Others say do take a multivitamin. There's some science somewhere one time said that if you take a multivitamin every day, you are creating cancer in your body. I don't know if any of that's true or not, but it is sort of alarming in all the wrong ways. So we were sent this new version of Women's Centrum Silver for women over 50. And we happen to know someone who's a little bit over 50. Her name happens to be Jan Marie Sweetheart, my wife of now, 34 years? And then we were also sent this, hey, Centrum Men. Silver, over 50, 200 tablets. Now, I really am only 12 years old in my mind. You have to be careful how you say that, because they'll think you're too young to be on television and streaming. I'm not that young. I am in my 50s. Now, here's the interesting part about this. They both have 200 tablets, right? The women's is huge. The men is very tiny. I'm not making any kind of weird joke about that, but it's very interesting. So we open up the women's capsules, and you look inside, and you can see, okay, sort of there, but not really there. Not really filled all the way. A woman's vitamin, as they say. For the men in your life. Now see, smaller bottle filled fuller. It's capsule. Now, as I understand it, really the only difference really between men and women's vitamins is that women's have iron and men's tend to not. So here they are side by side. Women's, men's. Not a good way to show it. But anyway, you see the men's is very tiny and the women's is huge. And it's just a fascination for me because you would think they'd be the same size. I guess I'm just easily entertained by weird things. So I got to put this back in the thing. I guess this is sort of a vitamin review. I don't know. And put this back in the thing. So some say take a multivitamin, don't take a multivitamin, speak to your doctor, see what your doctor says. Some people are on hormone therapy, some people are not. You have to be careful with interactions with any medications you might take. So please be very careful out there. It's a dangerous world. Now, something else has been going on today, which is sort of interesting, is what's been happening on Twitter. And as you may know, I'm a big supporter of Twitter Blue. I think it's like $3 a month. It's going up to $5 or $6 a month in about 5 days. And I think it's been out for about 6 months. And Twitter Blue offers you to change your color scheme to like purple or pink or yellow or orange. It allows you to have a profile picture that is an NFT. And it gives you other really fun, funky things. Reading free articles. But really, for me, the only advantage to having Twitter Blue is being able to use an NFT as your profile pic. So over the weekend, I was updating things, changing things around, updating graphics with some of the new DALL-E stuff that I've been working on with you. Had a wonderful sort of session, a DALL-E session on Friday. And once you start, you can't stop. There are 1,000 different ways you can try to get to one end photograph, image, picture, painting, stamp. And it's a fascination to see how you can work, collaborate with the computer, with intelligence, artificial intelligence, and see how far it will get you as you're trying to figure out what the heck's going on. But when you get a profile pic that's an NFT, you get sort of a certain I can't remember what is it, like a pentagon? Let me see if I can find one. It gives you a certain look that's really quite lovely, indicating that it's a NFT, indicating that if you click on it, you can get information from the blockchain about the NFT artwork. As I'm looking, I'm not seeing any NFT profile pics, and usually there are lots of them. And they're very distinguishable. Oh, if I could only find one. NFT profile pic. I'll do a search. NFT profile pic. Here's one. Perfect. See how it has this fun look? Is that a pentagon? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I don't know what that is. And then you click on it, and it gives you information about the NFT details. It's really a wonderful service, but it's only part of Twitter Blue. Well, see this? And then you go to my profile page. And it's gone. You click on it, it's just a picture. It's not an NFT. From my collaboration with DALL-E. This is my collaboration with Dali. And it's been, for 2 days, I've been trying to get my NFT profile pic to take. So I sent a little note. Oh, there we are live. Hey, 0 viewers. Thank you very much. The viewership doesn't update until after the show is over, by the way. I've learned that the hard way. So I sent a little note. Here we go. To Twitter Blue this morning, and it disappeared. Because this is the error message that I'm getting when I try to pick my profile pic as an NFT. NFTs aren't loading right now. Try again. So you try again, you disconnect your wallet, you uninstall Twitter, you reinstall Twitter, you set up your wallet, you connect your wallet, and it doesn't work. And you do searches on Twitter status, you do searches, an update from the Twitter Blue team on what's going on with your profile pic. There's nothing out there. You're in a wasteland. You're paying. You're one of the few that pay for the services of Twitter. But there's no way that I can find to make a bug report, to ask for assistance, to seek help. It's not out there. So I'm still waiting to see if I'm going to get a response from Twitter Blue about why my profile pic can no longer be an NFT. It doesn't make any sense. I don't understand what's going on. Another thing that doesn't make any sense, here's another DALL-E creation that I shared today, and another DALL-E creation that I shared today. And here is the definition of insanity. This morning, around 8 in the morning, this guy is on the top. Hey, there's Artist Dora. Good morning, Artist Dora. This guy is on the top of the path building. I don't know if he is tethered, if he is chained to the railing in any way, but he's trying to fix something, and he's been out there for a couple of hours this morning. And the wind is gusting to 16 miles per hour. It's cold, it's chilly, it's rainy. Dora says she saw the photo. I felt the same way. So I tweeted this out in a moment of concern to the Port Authority and to the PATH train, because this is the headquarters. This is the headquarters of the JSQ PATH train. And there's the guy right there in the red circle. That's how high up he is. And he did, right after I sent this tweet, about 15 minutes later, he disappeared for about half an hour. So I thought, oh gosh, maybe somebody went to get him. But then he was back. And he's stepping over this rail. There's a yellow railing there that I guess prevents you from falling off the top of the building. He steps over that to do whatever he is doing out there, and then he steps back over it. Now, I'm sure he has to be tethered to that in some way, but would that railing break the fall of a guy who is free falling? And if he's free falling and, like halfway down the building or 10 feet down the building, how are you going to get him back up? And I guess he'd just have to sit there for 20, 30 minutes while emergency crews got to General Square, went up on the roof, went outside, and tried to figure out how to pull him in without killing him. This is very bizarre to me. I don't really understand what's going on. But there's no response from the PATH. I guess they're just going to let him slide and let him dangle out there. But I keep checking every 5 minutes. And I know for this side of our building, which is, 56 stories tall, he's putting on a big show for everyone looking out their window. Because it's like, what is he doing? It's raining on him. Artist Dora says he should be wearing a special suit so he can be identified. What if it's sabotage? That's a very good point. It's very weird. And what it looks like to me is, I know he's fixing something. But these two things, I don't know if it's welding stuff, but it's on wheels. It's not usually out there. Or maybe that's fire extinguishers because he's doing something with fire. I don't know. He's doing something with a bucket. All by himself. There's nobody else out there watching him. He's not with a buddy. He's just out there on his own. And it could be sabotage. That's a good point. Very strange. And I know people who are living here were watching him this morning too. What is he doing out there? And why is there nobody helping him? It's very bizarre. And he should have on, a bright thing and a safety vest. So if he does fall or he's doing something, they can find him, because it's a very dark and ugly day out there. The rescue is what would concern me, for the welfare of the rescuers, because if he's over that ledge and he's tethered to that very tiny yellow bar, it would be hard to reel him in, I would imagine. And being that high up on the roof on a windy day like this, I guarantee you it's not 16 up there, it's 25. So in other news, we have some wonderful updates. I love how this changes. Ooh, it's just a little bit off. Makes me look weird. Hey, it's Monday. We have a lovely update from our friend Alexander in Ukraine. And sometimes he sends me something, once every 3 days, and some days he sends me 10 things in one day. It just depends where he is. And he spends a lot of his time driving in a car. He fills up his van with other people in his community, and they drive to provide supplies to their guys on the front line. And I have learned from a Russian friend that there are people in Russia who are doing the same thing for the Russian troops, because they have outdated equipment to wear, boots, vests. They're not being fed. They're just being put on the front to stand there and I guess be, what's the term? Cannon fodder. So the Russians are trying to do the same thing the Ukrainians are doing and, sending care packages to their guys in the front with food and clothing and the will to survive. So Alexander says, "Good day, my friend. Ukraine wins, but the price is too high. 2 weeks ago, we went to see some guys, and yesterday we found out that they came upon an enemy tank. 8 people died at once. One with a hematoma on his head and cannot hear in one ear, and he is in the hospital. All my life now," he means, "is combat training, trips to the guys, funerals of those whom I knew, and attempts to somehow earn money to support the family. There are moments when friends are mean," very interesting turn of phrase, "and strangers are friends." Artist Dora says heartbreaking. It is. This week we are going to the Donetsk region. Very dangerous region. A lot of big fighting. And in a week, a soldier's wife wants to go to the front with me. And he spends hours and hours in this car, driving there 6-7 hours there, drops out the stuff, they turn around, come back 6-7 hours. And that's usually when I hear from him, because somehow he has cellular connectivity. And so he sends me stuff while he's in the car. Usually photographs, because he speaks Ukrainian. He uses software to translate, so it's difficult for him to communicate because he has to type it in his language, have it translated, cut and paste it into a Discord message for me. And the same thing happens with our Russian friend, too. And I misunderstood our Russian friend because I thought he said that his parents also had to go into hiding because if they got served and they didn't provide him, that they would be put in jail for 10 years. And he said translation problem, software, he meant his family, his whole family, those with young men his age, have sent them into hiding. He didn't mean his parents. So he said, I have a mother and a father. Those are my parents. My family are the people other than my mother and my father. So that's very interesting. Is that a cultural thing? Is that a linguistic thing between Russian and English? It's very interesting. To see her husband, she is not afraid of shells. She is afraid to lose him. During these months, many friends have fled the country, and many, on the contrary, are doing everything to help us win. And my Russian friend sort of said something similar from the Russian side, that a lot of people there are very ill-informed, not very well educated. They just go along to get along. And all the smart people, all the talented people, all the people make a good difference in Russia are leaving or have already left. Some on the news call it a brain drain. My friend said it's the way it needs to be. Now, this was just magnificent. Alexander says, I am honored to receive this badge, Volunteer of Ukraine, especially from a good friend. Isn't that, I just think that's so beautiful. I don't know if it's a pin, I don't know if it's a badge, but it is so beautiful. And here is the recognition written from his friend to our friend Alexander. And this must be the back of it. I have a feeling it might be a little bit of a pin, which is the back. This is the clasp that connects to the back. Beautiful. Absolutely stunning. And he deserves it. Here's another update. Beautiful badge pin, Doris is. Absolutely gorgeous. And he deserves it. He's put a lot of hard work in. And I'm glad they have pins they can give to people to appreciate them, a badge. Alexander says, a couple of days ago, good day to you going to Donetsk. I will ask you to please mention that there is an excellent option with the car. Asking 59 part of the 10 battalion, the Kherson direction. I don't know what any of that means. It will save more than one life. We are collecting money. Maybe someone would help more. I guess they're trying to get vehicles to transport. I believe that's what he's talking about. Again, yesterday afternoon, more than a day on the road. But the emotions are overwhelmed. Be sure to share with you upon arrival. We are still on the road. And then he sends me these wonderful pictures. This is right outside of the Donetsk region. Must be welcome to Donetsk. There's our friend Alexander. I love his shirt, by the way. And here's our friend Alexander with a machine gun. Now that's a gun. To go from a jeweler in your former life to a machine gun holder and shooter must be wild. Thank you very much. 4 more hours and I'm home. Good night. Final photograph. Alexander and his friends. So we live in an interesting world where things change, people change. You wonder what's happening. How do we get out of this? I don't know how this is going to end because I don't think Putin's going to give up and Ukraine's not going to give up. And if I were Ukraine, I would not want to give up 1 inch of land to that madman. Oh, in the name of peace, just let him have the whole eastern side of your country. I don't think that's tenable. I don't think that's possible. I don't think the Ukraine people will go for it. But will international pressure tire of the war and press those good people into surrendering land that should never have been surrendered in the first place? Now we're going to take a very brief break, come back for an evidence audio review. It's going to be Mel. Back in a moment. And we are back. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles TV, BOLES.TV, .television. And we are here with you live Monday through Friday at noon. Well, now it's time for something I've been waiting to share with you for a little while now. And it is my Evidence Audio review. Now, Evidence Audio is a fantastic company. Founded, operated, run, celebrated by my good friend Tony. And Tony Farinella has been my friend for at least 100 years. Maybe not that long. But I'm in the process of writing a David Bowles Blogs review of 2 new cables that he sent me. I want to say audio cable, but it is an audio cable, but maybe it's not an audio cable. I'll share that with you in a moment. And so this section of the Bowles.tv live stream is going to appear in my article that I have written and I am writing right now. So all around you, hello text, images, hello, sidebar, hello. It's all going to come together in the new function of the new world, between the text world and the visual world and the audio world. Now, speaking of audio, you know, as a loyal watcher of this stream, that I have had terrible audio problems with Windows 11. Terrible. And as an old radio guy and musician and guitarist, amp guy, it's down there. It bothered me to no end. I could not get an XLR microphone to work with my Windows setup. I don't know why. I can't figure it out. No one seems to help me. So we have a USB mic that we use right now. However, on my Mac and in my presentation, my singing, my playing, my announcing, I use now this fantastic microphone cable from my friend Tony. This is what it looks like. I'm going to show you, we're going to be more specific in a moment, but this is what it looks like, right? This. It's a beautiful maroon color. It's a little dark in here, hard to see. There are your beautiful XLR connections and connectoids. And this is a 15-foot cable, right? And it makes everything sound beautiful. It comes coiled in this package with this wonderful insert. And I can tell you right now, it has a little thing here on the back, so people who care about their equipment want to carry it well, protect it well, not just wrap it up and throw it in a box. You want to wrap it carefully and put it in this. This has the strongest Velcro, military-grade Velcro, it seems, in the world. So the cable comes in this, and getting the thing open is very challenging. So, this is a microphone cable for a pro setup like this. This is my, mwah. In all the promo shots you see for the Bowles.tv live stream, you see this microphone. It's a Shure, and it sounds great. Here's the plug. This kind of microphone takes this kind of cable. I really should, be dramatic with this, put it around my neck or something. So this would, plug in to the control board, the audio control center, whatever you want to. And this end just simply plugs into this. And you have beautiful and glorious sound. And then you plug the other side in, to your amplifier, your control center, whatever it is, and you have beautiful sound. Now, the question is, why? I'm going to answer that question in the bowlesblogs.com article that you're probably reading right now. But in case you're seeing this as a highlight somewhere, I'm going to show you what's going on. Now, this takes us back to 2009, when I wrote my very first Evidence Audio cable review. Yeah, these are guitar cables. Beautiful stuff. Excellent stuff. I love every minute of it. I still have them. They're great. Now, people don't understand that cables can wear out. They get breaks in them. They stop charging, let's say, your iPhone. You get some kind of crackle or static when you move your mic cable in performance and think, okay, we have static. Well, is it in the line? Is it it's coming from somewhere else? You don't know. But oftentimes, in my experience, when you have unexpected noise, it's coming from the cable. The cable is calling from inside the house. Oh, I should do this way, like I'm performing. It's on a different microphone, though. This is the real microphone here. So that is the first review I wrote. Then I wrote another review a few years later, the Evidence Audio Forte Guitar Cable Review. It's another review. Here we go. Fantastic stuff, right? Beautiful. What are you going to do? I still use I should show you I have the cables right here. I should show them to you. I still have them. And if I could get away with playing music, any kind of music, even chords on this live stream, I would play them on my guitar. But as you know from previous experience, live music doesn't work. So this is the Evidence Audio website, evidenceaudio.com. I'll put the link on our Discord server. And our Discord server, in case you're interested, is oops. Oh, it's one of those days. It's still one of those days. There we go. Discord.gg/BOLES. And I'll pretend I'm talking to this microphone again. So, this is the lowdown on all of Tony's cables. Right? The melody, the lyric. I've reviewed them. The Reveal, the Forte, yes, they get better. And who would think that a cable would make a great difference in how your guitar sounds or in how your microphone sounds during your live stream, during your public address announcing, during a live performance? People don't think. I'm telling you, I know from direct experience. And here is this. And it's very bad form to have your cable of any sort wrapped around your neck like this and like tied into knots. So don't do this. Don't tell Tony. You can choose 10 feet, 15 feet, 20 feet. This is what it looks like. Here's the description of what it does. Some of this will appear in my blog review, the design, the theory behind it all, how you have to break in a cable. Now, some people say, oh, you don't have to break in audio cables. Oh, yeah, you do, for about 40 hours. Gold plating, the break-in, right here. Cables sound best after carrying a signal for approximately 40 hours. Some people will disagree with you. I say, I agree with Evidence Audio because it's very important. I do it with my headphones. I do it with any kind of electronic equipment I have. I burn it in for 2 days. If it's a TV, if it's a computer, if it's a cable, I put signal through it. Because if it's going to fail, if an electronic component is going to fail, be it a cable, it's going to fail within the first 2 days of being constantly used. And then it's going to last probably, figuratively, forever. So this is the beautiful microphone cable that I'm not treating very well. But we're having fun, so it's all right. Now I'm going to show you something that I find really super wild and really super duper more interesting. Not more interesting, equally interesting. All evidence audio cables are created equal. But look at this. This is a monster. I want to say it weighs 50 pounds, but it doesn't. It only weighs a few pounds, if that. What is this? It's a great big green cable. It's hitting my other microphone, right? Big. Now that's a big cable. Huh? It's gonna be metal. Yeah? Well, what you say? What? Let me see the end of it. Uh-huh. That's one end of it. Oh, that's one end of it. What? What is this? What kind of microphone cable? That doesn't look like a guitar cable. Well, it's not. Ooh, excuse me. It's more than that, my friend. Ah, now you have a clue. Oh, look at that. Now this is an AC cable. That's what it is. Why would you want to have an AC cable? What's wrong? What's the purpose of it? I'll put this around my neck too. Now, if I were smart, I'd find a way to plug this in here and plug this in here and like create a supernova. But for the kids watching, don't do it. You never know what'll happen. I think you would be safe, but don't mess with evidence audio. This is the genius of evidence audio. This cable, let's say for your guitar amp, replaces the crummy little cable that's included with your guitar amp. So you plug this end into your amp and this end into the wall socket for electricity. And what this does is provides clean, beautiful power to your amp that doesn't have a lot of noise. And when you're on the road, if you're in a studio you are not familiar with, if you're in a dive bar, hey, Artist Doris says one thing I don't mess around with is electricity. Very smart. This is very thick and very safe. So if you're at a bar, a dive bar, and you're, plugging into a wall socket that, doesn't have a faceplate and it's kind of wonky, and you're using a regular cable, you're probably going to get some noise, some hum, some static, some popping from the wall outlet to your amp. So if you use a cable like this, you're going to have a better experience. Could you use this to get a better signal from the wall to, let's say, your computer? Perhaps so. Let's check out what the website says. Let's go to evidenceaudio.com. Source AC power cable. And here it is. You saw it live and in person right here. And I love the ends. I mean, they're mechanical, they're huge, they're bulky, they're easy to grab hold of. I mean, normally you just have this little thing, this little part, right, that plugs in to your amp, and then you got to use your finger to pull it out. This, you can use your whole hand to pull it out. Same with this. And it's not going anywhere. Think power cables don't make a difference? Hey, think again. Evidence Audio. The Source AC power cable is a remarkable upgrade to the provider supply of any amplifier or audio component. Here's the design, how it all works, why it works. And it's just absolutely fantastic. And what a genius idea. So this mic cable right? And this AC cable are new. I found them on the Evidence Audio website. I said, oh boy, that looks fantastic. That's a great idea. That's a genius right there. A genius being born. at Evidence Audio. So now you know my review. I encourage you to check out their website. They have guitar cables, all kinds of interesting cables that gives you prime and beautiful sound. And it's pro stuff. It's not really consumer stuff, but there are all kinds of options for you. But if you really want to get a good cable, underrated. A good cable is underrated. That improves your sound, makes you play better. You can't go wrong with Evidence Audio. And now it's time for our next blood pressure break of the day. Returning in a moment. And now I have to get this set up and put our next review, which I will do right now because I'm covered with things. And it's going to be hard to get out. Coming up. iPhone 14 Max Pro review. Meow. Now I have to move this and shrink this so it all fits on the screen. Hey, this is how we do it. It's fun in a blanket. Now I'll be back in a moment. And hey, we are back from break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv, B-O-L-E-S, not television. Oh, big review day. We just finished a big review of Evidence audio cables, and now we're going to do a review of the iPhone 14 Max Pro. Pro Max. Max is last. I always get that mixed up. So, hey, on the break, Artist Dora asked, did you put your heat on today? It's chilly where I am, but don't think it's cold enough to have heat. It does sound like it's coming up in house. It is chilly here. Currently 53 degrees and cloudy skies. The windows are wide open. It's a little cold, but we don't have the heat on. And generally in this building, we don't ever have to turn on the heat because we are surrounded by people who love heat. And if you keep your windows closed and you get the heat from the hallway and all the apartments around you, you get heat by association. Sometimes we have to turn it on. But the summer is where it's really tough. That's where we get killed, is on air conditioning. We have wonderful in the apartment central air, I guess. Not through a window. That just always seems to be on. It's like every time it turns on, there's money going out and not coming back. Dora says nice. Yeah, so we're very lucky here. So I'm thinking it might be maybe another month before we might have to think about turning on the heat. But I do think we're done with the air conditioning, which is a good thing. So, I think it was last Friday, our new iPhones arrived. Now, there are 3 new versions there of the 14, the iPhone. There's the 14, there's the 14 Pro, and there's the 14 Pro Max. Now, the 14 is the new phone. The 14 Pro has better processor, more bells and whistles, and the 14 Pro Max, the Max has to do with the size of the screen. And we always go for the biggest size screen we can get because we're old and we can't see. So you make the text bigger, make the phone as big as possible. But you don't want an iPad to be your phone. You want a phone. So this is it. It's in this lovely purple that you see everywhere. I don't think we had a choice of other than purple. And the reason we decided to upgrade, because we had been using the 11 Pro Max, which was fine. It did not have 5G. Battery was okay. Sound was a little soft, but it was fine. And then we got this amazing offer from Verizon Wireless. We've been with them since forever, since they were Bell Atlantic and then 9X and then Verizon. And they said, hey, if you send us back your iPhone 11, we'll give you a $900 credit for each phone, which drops your price to the new phone to pretty much nothing, depending on the size. So we went with the Pro Max. We went with what we'd never had before, which is the 1 terabyte version of this phone. And some people in the Verizon forum say they're sold out, you can't get them. Promised delivery date of a week ago, and you call customer service and they say, well, it's not even in stock, call us back in a month. But I say, but my shipping date says tomorrow. And Verizon doesn't even answer. So I didn't think we were going to get these on Friday. I thought we were going to get a last minute notification or no notification at all saying, well, too bad. We were interested in you, but we don't have your phones. But I think the reason we probably got these is because this is the 1 terabyte version, and most people want the 256 megabyte version, Or I think we had 512 was our iPhone 11, which is the most you could get back then, which is what, 3 years ago? And we used to get a new iPhone every year. It was a big thing, big changes. And then over the last few years, the only real improvement that we didn't have was 5G. And we live in an area that's not really very strong in 5G. We can't get 5G in the apartment. You'd think we would in the middle of Journal Square, but we don't. When you're down on the ground, you can get a pretty fast connection, but not when you're at home. So that's weird. And people are saying, well, if you have a iPhone 13, you don't need to upgrade to the 14 because they're really basically the same phone because it's the same processor, maybe the camera's a little bit better. So far, I don't have a case for it. I think I probably should because it's a little bit slippery to me. And the cases, you want a case from Apple, it's $60. If you want a Spigen case, which is sort of a cheap but good quality case from Amazon, it's like $12. So people are making money on these cases. And here's my favorite thing of it is our iPhone 11 did not have MagSafe, which sounds, either very sexy or very threatening, depending on your point of view. But it's like you can get these things that are accessories. This is a battery. And it only comes in white because it's from Apple. But you can get like a little wallet, and you get a case that has magnets in it. And so you put this together like this, and it clomps on there, right? And it's not moving. So this will charge your battery. It's not being charged. 78%. Oh, it's magic. And this slow charges your iPhone. Now, if you want it fast charging, you have to get a 30-watt plug and a wire, and then it goes in the lightning port. And then that charges your phone to 50% in 15 minutes and fully charges it in 30 minutes. Something like that. And then you're done with this. You just take it off. You want to put it back on? Put it back on. So what are the technical specs for the iPhone 14 Pro? And so far, so good. It's absolutely delightful. It's faster, connects better, battery lasts longer. And here's the important thing to remember, is this has a really good camera in it now, right? And what a lot of people don't realize is, and we realized this early on, that if you're going to take a picture or a video or something of something, wherever you are in the world, wherever the world is at with you, Doris says she won't go back to Verizon. I've been with them forever too, but they wouldn't budge with the price of my new monthly plan. I'm with T-Mobile and very satisfied. Oh, that's good. I hear T-Mobile's very good too. And I agree that Verizon is behind in 5G. T-Mobile is better if you have service, but they're pretty good in big cities. But if you go into the Midwest or into rural areas, you may not have as good a connection. And people also like AT&T. So I don't care. I'm just with Verizon because I'm old school. So when you're looking to take a photograph or a video, you must use the highest quality format available at the time. Because as time passes, the quality will look worse. We've been making American Sign Language videos, writing American Sign Language books for 20 years. And you go back 20 years and you look at our videos and they're a little chalky and very bad quality. And you think, at the time, we spent thousands of dollars to get the best possible looking video that now looks awful. And this is the trend. This is how it goes. You look at television shows from the 80s. Golden Girls. Alice. Shot on video. High quality video. At the time. But today you go back and look at it and you can't even watch them because the quality, the video is so terrible. Not HD. We live in an HD world. Back then, in the 80s, there was no HD. However, if you go back in time with the super genius known as Lucille Ball and Desilu, and how they shot everything on film back in the 50s and 60s, that you can upscale. That film is HD. Very high quality. Dora says, good tip regarding video. The Twilight Zone. Dora loves Lucy. I do too. When you rewatch those shows today, they are beautiful and crisp. And that's why it's so important now with this iPhone Pro/Pro Max is you have a better camera. We have a camera that will take and save giant photographs. From, let's say, the average of 12 megabytes per image to something like 84 megabytes per image, which is a lot of space that takes up your phone storage, which is why you get 1 terabyte. You get the max, you get the max screen, you get the max storage, and you set your phone to take the max photograph allowed. Now, you can use, I have to turn myself off here. Now, you can use the camera app. Or, turn this down a little bit, it's a little bright. Or, you can get a third-party app like Halliday that will allow you to use this basically as a regular camera. Oh, you can see all around. And take wonderful photographs. It doesn't do video, Halliday, but it does let you control a little bit better what is going on. With the file size. And you want the best, highest, maximum quality photograph. And another thing about this is the always on display. And people complain about it. They say, oh, it's too bright. It's not. It's absolutely fantastic. I like having color. I like having the always on display. I have it on my Apple Watch. I have it on now on my iPhone. That means when I just look at my phone, I can see what time it is. Or I can see what's going on the screen. I can see if I have a message. There, that is the always on display. So this is what my phone looks like when it's turned off. But the display is AOD, always on. And it is, and you can see it. And I love it. So now let's take a look at the official website, and we'll just step through this together. A magical new way to interact with a phone. Groundbreaking safety features designed to save lives. An innovative 48 megapixel camera. Mind-blowing detail. All powered by the ultimate smartphone chip. How can I put this next to my face better? Pro Beyond. Pro and Pro Max. Deep Purple. Gold. Now, I've seen pictures of the gold. The gold is white. People are very disappointed that the gold doesn't look better. Silver. Space black has always been my favorite. But I think Verizon only had the 1 terabyte in Deep Purple. So we got 2 of them, and it's fine. It's a very subtle purple. Designed for durability. With ceramic shield, tougher than any smartphone glass, water resistant. Meet the face of the new iPhone. Now, this is also on the Pro, not the regular 14. Introducing Dynamic Island, a truly Apple innovation that's hardware and software and something in between. It bubbles up music, sports, FaceTime, and so much more, all without you taking away from what you're doing. And it is rather delicious. If you're on a telephone call, it goes into the dynamic island. If you're playing music, it goes into the dynamic island. You can click on the dynamic island, and it will take you to what you're doing. The lovely artist Dora asks, how easy is to use iPhone versus Samsung? I've been a Samsung user for forever. Samsung is a good brand. I have been an iPhone user all of my life. I came from Palm. The Palm Treo was one of our phones. Motorola. Wrote a big love letter to the Motorola StarTAC. But for me, iPhone is it. It's easy, it's simple, it's fast. And the most amazing thing is this now has an eSIM. You don't have a SIM card anymore. And you can have up to 8 eSIMs on your phone at one time, 2 in use. It's just fabulous. You can have a home phone and your work phone on your one phone, and they'll both ring. And I took the iPhone 11, put it next to this one, and the Apple said, do you want to transfer from that to this? I said, yes. You want us to erase your old phone? Yes. Your eSIM is now ready. And the great thing about an eSIM is it cannot really be cloned. That's how people steal your information and your phone number and your phone, is they call these cellular companies and they say, hey, I lost my phone. Can you send me a new eSIM? And send me a new SIM. And then they put it in their phone and they have control of your phone. You can't do that with eSIM. Always on display, always at the ready. That's what I showed you. Now your lock screen, as you can see, this is the lock screen right there. You can see it. Is always glanceable, so you don't even have to tap it to stay in the know. I love it. I really do. I used to leave my iPhone on to turn off never. That was my setting. And then sometimes I would, if I wanted it to go off, I would just turn it off myself. But otherwise, I wanted it on, usually for long extended periods of time. Now I can leave it on and see what's going on because it's always on display. When iPhone is turned face down or in your pocket, it goes dark to save your battery life. And you can turn that off if you don't like it. But it's one of the major features you're paying for, so why would you turn it off? Your photo, your font, your widgets, your iPhone. iOS 16 lets you customize your lock screen. That's what this is, my lock screen. In fun new ways. Layer a photo, make it pop. And it is really, really, really rather wonderful. Jana has hers set to the weather. So if it's raining, you get rain on your phone. If it's sunny, you get a big sun. I'm, as you can see, using the world. A display that's 2 times brighter in the sun. Very, very important. Because when you're outside and you're trying to use your phone, you can't see the display because it's bright and sunny out. That's a problem. Vital news, safety features we hope you'll never need. This emergency SOS via satellite. Now, isn't that remarkable? It's not ready yet, but it's coming. And for a certain amount of time, it's going to be free. And I think Apple's going to see, if it's used or abused or if it needs to be bundled as part of Apple One or an add-on. But what it means is you can take your phone, point it to the sky, and the phone will, like a compass, direct you to the nearest satellite that you can connect to if you don't have cellular service, and you can make an emergency phone call. Or, if you happen to crash your car, your phone can make an emergency phone call for you. And that happened over the weekend, I believe in California. So if you're out hiking, if you're running, if you're on the water somewhere and you crash, you're stranded, but you still have your phone. Oh, I don't have cellular service. Now you will have cellular service because you'll have satellite service. I have no idea how it will work, but I believe in the technology. It adds peace of mind when you're off the grid. you don't have cell service or Wi-Fi, iPhone lets you text emergency services over satellite. Here we go. Crash detection calls for help when you can't. Your phone and the Apple Watch does this, did it first. But now the iPhone does it. It looks like you've been in a crash. iPhone will trigger emergency SOS if you don't respond. And I believe it gives you 5 seconds to respond. And what this does is this little thing here. When it becomes an emergency call, the SOS thing starts like a thermometer going on 1 second, 2 second, 3 second, 4 second, 5 second. And you have to swipe it off, say don't call, because otherwise it calls on your behalf. The Pro camera system, massively more pro. Introducing the all-new 48 megapixel main camera with an advanced processor. Up to 4 times the resolution for jaw-dropping cropping. The iPhone 14 raises the bar for what 48 megapixels can do, delivering 4 times the resolution in Pro RAW for mind-blowing detail in every crop. 65% larger sensor for images than the previous model. Picture versatility. I will put the link to this page in our Discord server. The new Pro camera system adds a 2-time optical quality telephoto zoom range, putting tons of framing flexibility into your pocket. Up your frame game. And in low light, you'll get better pictures. 3 times better low light photos. 2 times better low light photos on the main camera. 2 times better low light photos on the telephoto camera. And that's one thing when you're taking a photograph you really can't control is the light. You either have it or you don't. Now, you can play around with your aperture, and you can play around with if you have something like Holiday, where you don't want automatic exposure, you can set it yourself. 24 breathtaking frames per second. Cinematic mode now shoots in 4K HDR at 24 frames a second. It's the film industry standard, now in the palm of your hand. Ooh, this is beeping somehow. I don't know why. Is that some sort of infrared thing? I guess just seeing if it should turn off or not. Have your people call our people. Now you can seamlessly edit with other pro footage in 4K and a 24 or 30 FPS, frames per second. You can even edit the depth effect after capture. Highest quality video on a smartphone. Shaky action, fix it. And you can turn this on. Say, look, I want to smooth, I'm going to run next to this runner, but I don't want the camera to capture my movement. Stabilization, it's fabulous. Whether you're filming from an off-road SUV or running alongside your subject, try action mode for smooth handheld videos. No gimbal required. And I remember I had a gimbal that I was so excited to use, and it didn't work. Dead on arrival, as they say. So you have a main camera, you have a telephoto camera, and you have an ultra-wide camera. So it's like having all these different cameras on one phone. The A16 Bionic chip. A battery that's all in all day, and if you want, you can add a battery pack very easily. MagSafe charger for wireless charging. I have one, I love it. So long SIM tray. That's the most delightful thing of this whole thing. eSIM makes things simple. It's now an industry standard. Lets you activate your new iPhone or add carriers digitally. So you can have Verizon as your home phone number, and then you could, let's say, port in a business phone using the AT&T network or T-Mobile and have that carrier secondary on your phone as well. But in my experience, it's easier to stay with one provider. But you don't have to. And when you're traveling abroad, you don't have to buy a SIM card. What you do is you buy access to an eSIM, and then you load time on that. It's much easier than having an actual physical card. Privacy is built in, personal, powerful. Have more fun with your iPhone. Save up to $1,000 on iPhone Pro 14 after your trade-in. And that's what we did. We got a very good deal. It was a hard deal not to say. And the main thing it gave us was access to 5G, which we did not have before on our old phone. And now we have this dynamic island. We have a better camera. We have better movie, better video. Hard to beat. And so far, since Friday, I've been using it all day, every day, and the battery is amazingly fantabulous, as they say in the movies. It's letting you know it's charging. My battery is charging my phone. I'm so happy. And now it's time to take our next blood pressure break of the day, returning in a moment. And oh, here we go. This is what we're going to do next. Coming up. We'll be right back. But first, coming up on Bowls.tv, Daniel Day Lewis Witz. Interesting, right? Not maybe necessarily news, but a new way of thinking about performance and dedication to craft. That's what's coming up next. Returning in a moment. And we're back from break. I'm David Bowles. This is Bowles.tv. It's BOLES.television. Monday through Friday, high noon, Eastern Time. And it's still cold and rainy and yucky here on the East Coast. I don't know if this is Hurricane Ian still coming around, hanging out, after effects, or if that hasn't started yet. I don't know if I want to find out. So before we get to Daniel Day-Lewis, which is a very, very interesting story, I'm going to take a look at this news that popped up the other day, and it's the ongoing conversation of, is coffee good for you or not? Now, if you have high blood pressure, doctors say don't drink coffee. Although my cardiologist drinks a lot of coffee, espresso coffee. If you lift weights, the current coaching says drink a couple of cups of coffee a day because it pushes out bad stuff from your heart. The coffee growers do research and have it published as if it's scientific evidence that coffee and caffeine is good for you. Well, here's the latest news from Health Central talking about the benefits of coffee. How much coffee is too much coffee? No one can really answer that question. Everything good has a bad side, and coffee is no different. Generally, you want to limit yourself to 400 milligrams of caffeine a day, which equates to about 4 8-ounce cups of coffee. Now, it depends to me on the blend, the espresso. How do you know 400 milligrams? Nobody knows. But this is fair. 4 8-ounce cups of coffee. Now, people don't know how much is 8 ounces. I mean, if you in a cup, it's about that much. People think this much, a mug, a giant coffee mug is 1 cup of coffee. It's probably 2. Regular coffee drinkers might notice they need more than 1 cup of coffee to up their energy levels because it's possible to develop caffeine tolerance. So you may need a doppio espresso, a double dose of espresso, instead of a single shot to feel more alive in the morning. And I would do a quad doppio espresso. Is that 8? I would get like 4. I said, give me 4 shots of espresso in a small cup. And I would drink it, and it was delicious. And would it wake me up? Not really. So there are 6, count them 6, maybe more, health benefits of coffee. And they are, number 1, it gives you energy. Okay, your gut absorbs caffeine within 45 minutes of consumption, and it peaks in the bloodstream anywhere between 15 minutes to 2 hours. That's a pretty long time. So if you wake up in the morning and you have a cup of coffee, it's going to take you an hour to wake up. Not very quick. It might protect against heart disease. Coffee is more than an energy-giving savior. According to the American College of Cardiology, research suggests drinking 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day may lower your risk of heart disease and stroke by up to 15%. But who's paying for that study? That's what I want to know. We've heard it before. And it may be true or it may not be true. But where the money comes from for the study matters. Coffee increases longevity. Coffee could, maybe might, help you live longer. A study published in the European Society of Cardiology found that drinking a few cups of coffee a day could extend your life, regardless of whether or not the coffee is caffeinated, decaf, instant, or ground. Now that's very interesting, actually. It also bolsters previous research about coffee and heart health. So maybe you just need to drink coffee and the caffeine is not important. It's linked to a lower risk of type 2 diabetes. Even decaf coffee comes with benefits. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition Review suggests that a cup or 2 of caffeine-free coffee a day can protect against type 2 diabetes. Similar results were found in also caffeinated coffee. It may, just maybe might, lower the risk of depression. A meta-analysis of 7 studies published between 1980 and 2015 suggests that the risk of depression goes down by 8% per every cup of coffee consumed. Okay. Lowers the risk of liver disease. Any kind of coffee, decaf, instant ground, no matter what type you drink, just might maybe be good for your liver. A 2021 study published in the Journal of BMC Medical Health suggests that coffee protects against chronic liver disease known as steatosis. That is new. I've not heard that one before. It could protect brain health. This is number 7, so we've gone beyond the 6. Drinking coffee could help protect against cognitive diseases such as Parkinson's and Alzheimer's. A study published in the journal Nutrients suggests an association between caffeine consumers and lower risk of developing Parkinson's. Regular caffeine consumption is also associated with a lower risk of Alzheimer's and dementia. So hey, I guess a little bit of coffee can be good for you, and that is a very good thing. We're going to have an interesting conversation about Daniel Day-Lewis. Now, do you know who that is? Let's see. We'll look him up just so you can see his face in case you don't know him. This is Daniel Day-Lewis. Great actor. Been in a lot of movies. One of the first things he did was play Christy Brown in the movie My Left Foot, about a paralyzed man who used his left foot to communicate and to interact with the world. He's a wonderful actor. He said many times that he's quitting acting. And he has, and he did, and he was. So here's the story behind the Daniel Day-Lewis thing. Daniel Day-Lewis quits acting again. Because he retires, then he comes back, then he retires, then he comes back. But this is the interesting one. In 1989, Daniel Day-Lewis quit stage acting. While still on stage, during a performance of Hamlet at the National Theater. The story goes that Day-Lewis got to the scene where the Shakespeare character speaks to his father's ghost before inexplicably collapsing into sobs and walking off. During the live performance, he left the stage. He cried and walked away, never to appear on stage again. Imagine for a second that this happened in the camera phone age. There would be photographs, video of him having this breakdown. The reported rationale, Day-Lewis was such an effective method actor that he somehow managed to summon his own father's ghost on that very stage. Daniel Day-Lewis has since clarified, or further confused us, the public, telling Time magazine in 2012, to the extent I probably saw my father's ghost every night, because of course if you're working in a play like Hamlet, you explore everything through your own experience. So yes, of course, it was a communication with my own dead father. So that's the background on Daniel Day-Lewis, of why he quit first movies and then acting on the live stage. And here is where it gets really interesting, where art intersects with reality and real life influences imagined art. And this time, it's in the form of a poem. Now, you don't need to know what Daniel Day-Lewis looks like or that he played Christy Brown in My Left Foot, or that he walked off stage after seeing his father's ghost during a performance of Hamlet. But if you do have that little bit of backstory, this next little bit makes it all the richer. This is a poem by Mariette Small-Stade, published in The Atlantic very recently. Daniel Day-Lewis leaves the stage. And this is a poem about what we just learned. And I think it's magnificent. It's something that happened in 1989, can be ruminated on and thought about and written about and shared, and takes on a new meaning, a new life beyond the original incident. And even if you have no idea what happened, you can still enjoy this poem. But if you know the background of what happened, then you really see the genius of this poem. He does not return, not to the evening's performance, where his understudy gains a standing ovation, and not to the theater, where the treasonous stage is made. For turning one place into many, one person to another. 10 men become an army, halved coconuts a cavalry. The absence of vastness and sky is transformed into vastness and sky, field, forest, cliff, sea, a castle and its ramparts. What if it tempt you toward the flood, my lord, and draw you into madness? Though each night he cried out, each night no angels came, no ministers of grace to save the sun from the spotlight glare of grief. Day-Lewis later claimed his vision, less hallucination than metaphor. To some extent, I probably saw my father's ghost every night. As a metaphor, then, how he collapsed, his long body, his own again, and folded into 3 parts like a letter. Dear Father, dear ghost, what is he doing here in Elsinore? The planks of the London stage grow cold beneath the actor's face. Haunt merely meant to frequent, until Shakespeare gave the word all to the dead. They frequent us, a favorite pub, my head, and when my head is gone, say why this, wherefore, what should we do? This too is more a metaphor, and makes the grieving man a room to linger in or leave. Poor ghost, dependent on a restless crowd's imaginings, how pale he glares! The seats grow stiff, the floodlights seem to fade, the speeches spin out into air. Far below on the little stage, an actor falls, just as he might be meant to, but is not. And in the breath-held pause, before the castle vanishes entirely, the vastness narrowing, a roof where there was a sky, we struggle to recall the words just heard. Hamlet, remember me? The line almost, if not quite, forgot. Now that's a poem. And how rich it is when you know the backstory, when you know the reality that was taken and tangled and transformed from one thing into another. It's just magnificent. And now that inspires me to call up my favorite collaborator. You know him, you love him. Hey, it's Dolly, the AI image creator. So what can we do? Hamlet's ghost. All father. What do we get? I don't know. It's thinking and thinking and thinking. And if this doesn't work, we're going to try something else until we get something that's really interesting. Because that's what we do. Oh, now this doesn't look good. I don't like it so far. Dumb. 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 Has nothing to do with anything. So, Shakespeare writing about a ghost in candlelight. See, you never know what you're going to get. It's the fun and the curse of living in an artificial intelligence world. Okay, maybe this is better. We'll look at this better. That's Shakespeare. Okay, Shakespeare as a ghost writing. Okay, it's interesting to learn how a machine thinks. I accept. Hey, it's Donna. Hello, Donna. Thank you for coming and saying hello. Here's another. Oh, this is interesting. I guess we think this is Shakespeare. I have learned that the AI does not like text. These, I guess, are the ghosts. Okay. The candlelight. I like that a lot. Another ghost, another candle, another writing. So I guess the computer doesn't know that Shakespeare is a person or what he looks like. More, I guess, Shakespearean jibber-jash. I like the candles. I like the ghost. Did I save this one? I can't remember. So the best one, I think, is not that one. I think it's this one. So then I'm going to go up here and click on variations and see if it can, extend it a little bit, make it look a little more interesting. I don't know if the computer knows what Hamlet is or if it's a person. Now let's see if we have anything better. These are the variations on that model. Not very interesting. No ghost. A ghost candle. Okay. Oh, that looks like a dead ghost, but sort of interesting. And this is all photorealistic, which I did not ask for, but that it provided me. Fine. So, Hamlet. Hamlet. Ghost image. 1880s photograph. I don't know if this is going to do anything. I'm usually very good at this. I've been practicing all weekend, but so far I've not been finding success in my Hamlet. So, this is getting closer. I don't like how it cuts the head off. I don't really understand that. Hey, it's Dora. Well, I created a Shakespeare in the Park. Not a very creative name. I like it, though. That's very funny. This is okay. Interesting. Very interesting. Oh, a painting. Got it. We'll go a variation on this one and see what the computer can think of. Very slight variation. Getting just weirder and weirder. Okay, there's one I wanted to try. I saw somebody online saying something about a postage stamp. I'm going to try that. Let's say Shakespeare. Say Hamlet. Hamlet as a Russian stamp. See if that takes. Could be interesting, could be a disaster. That's the fun of art. Oh, look at that. Very interesting. I find that very interesting. Interesting. Wow, that's just weird. Fun. I like the stamp idea. I love the stamp idea. Shakespeare on an American airmail stamp. Maybe it's interesting, maybe it's not. Time is on our side, but not our ally. Wow. I can tell this already. It's always like Christmas when this shows up. Now, is this an airmail stamp? I don't know, but I accept it. Fun. Weird. See, I like all this gibberish in here because that's how the computer's thinking. I don't mind it, but I guess you can go. Shakespeare is our shake. I guess you can go into the editor, which I've never figured out, and like erase it and type in your own text somehow. I don't know. I never tried it. Well, that is fun with artificial intelligence. We just might have to do a little bit of that every day. Well, I've had a wonderful show. Did an evidence audio review, an iPhone Pro Max 14 1 terabyte review. We did a Daniel Day-Lewis review. Doris says, finally, close enough. I think that's exact. We're ending on a high note. Finally. But there's some very interesting things you can do with AI. And I was just inspired to try it with the Hamlet stuff. But we'll try it with other variations on a theme next time. If you have any questions or comments, you can email me, david@bowles.tv, on Twitter, @DavidBowles, super follow to follow. On Facebook, we're BOLES. Instagram, it's Bowles Books. And hey, go to our Discord server to get all the links that we talked about today. And to say hi and ask questions if you like. So thank you for being here. I hope you have a great day, great nap. Stay warm if you're cold and cool down if you're hot. And when you shall awaken, may your soul be filled with delight and no ghosts that you don't want to visit you. I'll see you next time.